everything! Everything that I ever loved! You took Sophia! You took Sophia! And now, Sophia too! Die!
Please stop! What's going on? Can't you see me? Stop this! I'm begging you, please!
You didn't think I was gonna leave this series in the dust, did you? Honestly, I can't blame you. But you were wrong. Let's wrap this sucker up. Time for some Gaiden Abridged. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and we are letting nothing stop us from reaching the Emperor. It's time for the last stretch of Alm's journey, and let me tell you, these Regellians ain't joking around. The last few encounters of the Alm route are some of the hardest challenges you'll have to take on in the entire game. To make things even more interesting, my external hard drive decided to go ahead and die. Again. Which resulted in me having to go back and load one of my old backup saves. And I don't remember what the hell I was doing on this save file, but a bunch of my units are dead, and Tobin is my only healer. And I am no one capable of using the warp spell, so this is gonna be fun. Luckily, there is a shrine coming up soon, which will allow us to revive a few dead people, if we know where to look. Now, one good aspect about loading a save is that I was able to go back to Celica's side and return to the Mila Shrine. Thanks to some old comments, I was able to find the hidden entrance in the sewers. I had to navigate a little bit around an invisible maze in the wall, but eventually I was able to find the entrance to the closed room. And the backtracking is well worth it, as the chest contains a magic ring. If you don't remember how utterly broken these things are, they boost the range of all spells by 5, which in Celica's group is utterly ridiculous. Anyway, back to Alm and the final stretch. In our way stands Magnum, also known as Magnus in Echoes. A superior translation in my humble opinion. The first battle of the day takes place in the beautiful Rigelian waterfalls. Wasn't Rigel supposed to be this bleak, grey, cold and shitty place? Looks damn beautiful if you ask me. I don't know what these people are complaining about. Now, this map is really challenging. Not as bad as some of the ones that are to come, but still very tricky. You're flanked on the right-hand side by Bow and Gold Knights. As always, Bow Knights are just a pain to deal with in Gaiden since they're so hard to counterattack, but I'm going to show you a way to deal with them very effectively. Now, when you think about Alm's signature weapons, several come to mind. We have the Regal sword, which is his personal weapon for a majority of the game, and many would also consider the Bolt sword to be one of his early game classics. His massive dong armor is of course a weapon in its own right, and then of course there's the Falchion, which he will eventually get his hands on. But for now, let me introduce you to the best weapon of them all, the goddamn Silver Bow. You see, Alm gets bows when he promotes. Normally, in most of the Fire Emblem games, that is considered pretty trash. But in Gaiden, it means Alm now has 1 to 5 range. Let that sink in for a moment. These stats, combined with the insane hit and might of a Silver Bow, and the ability to retaliate against anything that attacks him. And yes, that includes Bow Knights. If you thought Alm was broken before, you haven't seen anything yet. I decided to let him take on the flanking squad as they are actually pretty threatening, and I don't want them to slip through and target my squishy units, such as my unpromoted Ryuto. Up in the north, we have the boss Magnum, who's a pretty standard but still very threatening Baron. He's flanked by Hests, which I think is one of Sonia's sisters, but don't quote me on that, it's been a while since I played Echoes. Hest is actually pretty easy to kill, but she will hit extremely hard with her aura spell, so be wary of that. Also, funny useless Norwegian trivia of the day, Hest means horse in Norwegian, but the way it's spelled, Hesta actually means horses in plural, but only in a specific part of Norway where the dialect makes us say ein hest, flere heste. Very useless knowledge, I know, and definitely why you tune in to watch Gaiden Abridged. Oh yeah, there's also a shaman that summons gargoyles, but for whatever reason he won't start spamming them until you get closer. Don't ask me why. With Alm running off to the side on his little solo mission, I decide to send Python and Grey up north to try and snipe the wizard before he can do anything, but Gaiden hit rates proves to be as unreliable as Norwegian summer weather. Alm, on the other hand, slaughters his entire right-hand group with ease. If only the rest of the Deliverance could follow suit. The first true challenge of this map is the bridge, because it's not there. But it is guarded by 3 wizards on the other side. I don't know if there is a way to lower it. Maybe there's a mechanism or something located on the map, but I haven't been able to discover it for myself. Which means that from this point on, only my flyers, which is only really my Claire, and for whatever reason my gold knights can cross. Everyone else is stuck on the other side. Warping is a viable way to bypass this, but for some reason Silk and Tatiana are dead on this save file. Don't ask me why, I don't remember how it even happened. So yeah, this kinda sucks. Luckily, I can at least draw most of the enemies down to the river where my bow knights can take pot shots at them, and luckily I've given my Claire so much favorable treatment during this run that she's actually pretty damn strong. Taking on the final few bosses is going to be a freaking pain though. Magnum is joined by a generic Baron, and I can't get any of my magical units over there to deal with them, so it's going to be a slow chip and dip to the finishing line, occasionally sending my units back to the bridge where Tobin can heal them with his recover spell. Hest proves to be one of the easiest bosses in the game to deal with, as Claire just straight up murders her. Claire also massacres the gargoyles thanks to her Falconite effectiveness, and even bonks the summoner with ease. But powerful as she might be, she can't really effectively do much against the Barons and their 20+ defense. It becomes a game of cat and mouse, me trying to make the Barons move off their healing tiles and hijacking them for myself, hoping that the avoid and passive health regen will be enough to survive against their hard-hitting attacks. I'd be lying if I said this was interesting, so I'm just gonna speed it up. Finally, Magnum goes down. As expected, even I fell. I mean, you're a boss in a Fire Emblem game, what did you expect? That we were going to just give up and move past you? Anyway, with that we conquer the beautiful Regellian waterfalls. Cool stuff. With that encounter out of the way, it's time to continue further into Rigel. Or at least that's what we will be doing after we take a look at the Hidden Shrine. Located across the river, this place gives you a lot of benefits. It only contains a single encounter, but that encounter is probably one of the most valuable grinding spots in the game, because here you can fight mummies. Now if you don't remember how mummies in this game work, let me refresh you. Here's the stats of a regular zombie, and here's the stats of a mummy. Can you tell the difference?
They're the same picture.
That's right, there is none. They have identical stats. I think this might be a programming error, but luckily for us, mummies still give the experience points of a tier 2 monster, meaning that some of your units can get almost a full level per kill. If you have anyone still in need of promotions, this is the place to earn them. I decided to give most of the kills to Lucas and Luthier because they are still in their tier 1 classes, which is honestly quite embarrassing. Inside the shrine we encounter a Mila statue, and thanks to the experience from your mummy, I finally promote the last of my 2 scrubs to their tier 2 classes, which is kinda sad considering the rest of my army has been tier 3 for a while. However, the real reason we're even here is because of the revival shrine. 5 charges, 5 dead people. It all adds up beautifully. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the idea of taking on the final 2 maps of Rigel without some proper white magic users kinda makes me want to stick a wooden spoon through my eye. So I'm going to run this encounter one more time and get some experience on Tatiana, Silk, and Delthea. For Tatiana, I just want her to learn Fortify. It's such a wonderful spell in Gaiden. It has global range and restores a crap ton of HP. For Silk, she can already cast Warp as she is, but I want her promoted so she doesn't just die the moment an enemy farts in her general direction. For Delthea, I kinda want to promote her just because, well, no reason, I just want to. I normally bench her, and I want to see what she can do in Gaiden. Apparently her promotion comes super late at level 20, but I hear it's worth it, so let's give her a go. And yes, I realize I am grinding in a Fire Emblem game, so go ahead, get it out of the way. I know you're still watching.
Vex is grinding. Castle.
Despite the fact that this is now a tainted run, the payoff is well worth it. Tatiana picks up 45, Silk gets her promotion, and Dorothea also becomes a priestess. I actually had no idea this is what she promoted into. I always assumed she became a sister or a sage, but this is quite interesting. She even has the same list of spells as Celica does, and yes, that means she learns Ragnarok, the spell that hits so hard it occasionally crashes the game. Anyway, we're done with the Hidden Shrine. Let's march on out of here and go take on the last 2 encounters. Have you ever wondered why so many castles in Fire Emblem don't really make a lot of sense from a defensive perspective? I mean, Operation Portcullis from Tracia 776 was looked upon as this dishonorable act that shamed House Frege. But the truth is, that's how people defended castles and forts back in the day. Trapping people in narrow hallways with murder holes, pouring boiling oil down on them. A siege was not pretty, and the defenders would do anything to survive, no matter how disgraceful. After all, what's the point in having a castle if you're just gonna leave the front door open for your enemy to just waltz in? I get it, it's to make gameplay more interesting, and yes, Fire Emblem is romanticized medieval warfare. But still, it would be nice to see some proper siege defenses for once. And that's exactly what we will be witnessing in the upcoming battle. Now look at this map. Look at it! It may be an absolute pain in the ass to play and definitely not fun at all, but from a defense perspective, this map is right on the money. You have these long, narrow entryways where you can only move 1 unit at a time, and they're all defended by barons. All the while, wizards and bow knights will pepper you with arrows from all directions. This really resembles a proper fort. I'd love to watch Shadiversity review and rate it. Of course, a fort back in the medieval ages didn't really account for us having the ability to teleport Alm directly into its interior, but hey, if you thought I was gonna play this map fairly, you're dead wrong. Oh no, we're sending 1 to 5 ranged Silverbow Alm in on one of their healing tiles to deal with all the bow knights, while everyone else gets the hell back. Only Grey and Python are allowed to go anywhere near the fort. I'm not sending anyone else in until Alm has thinned out some of the enemies, or at least until the boss, Mueller, is dealt with, because this guy will murder your squishy units if you place them in his range. Tatiana's Fortify spell really comes in handy on this map. Not only does it keep Alm topped off, but it also heals all of my other white magic users. It's such a wonderful spell and definitely made Nuibaba's abode worth it. Never thought I'd hear myself say that, but hey, I also never thought I'd still be making Gaiden Abridged episodes in 2020. Now, I know some of you might find it a bit boring that this map is yet another Alm solo fests, but what else am I supposed to do? Sending in anyone who isn't Alm or a bow knight will just get them peppered with arrows, and since they can't retaliate, there's no point. The battle will just drag on. The bow knights will just keep retreating back to healing tiles and come back. I know someone's gonna point out that I have mage rings available, which should allow my magic users to retaliate against the enemy bow knights. But let me tell you, I tried this. It doesn't work. Nosferatu tanking isn't reliable enough because it has garbage hit rates, and it also slows down my casters and gets them doubled. And my other magic users are definitely not tanky enough to take arrows to the face reliably, and most of them gets doubled too, because bow knights are just that fast. This just goes to show the innate flaw in the way Gaiden handles its archers. I get that having only 1-2 range on most bow units in Fire Emblem makes bows pretty crap, and it was a fun experiment to try and increase it, but the end result is just not fun, because it just means anyone who isn't an archer with 1-5 range practically becomes useless in this battle, especially on a map like this where the enemy force is mostly comprised of bow knights. After Alm is done massacring most of the scary enemies, we are finally allowed a bit of fun, so let's try out our new priestess, shall we? Silk warps Dorothea in behind the enemy lines to deal with the barons, and you guys know what's coming. It's time for some Ragnarok.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Yeah, sorry Lysithea fans. Tiny little girl one-shotting big bulky men in armor. Once again, Gaiden did it first. I gotta admit, I always thought the Ragnarok spell was a bit of a meme due to its massive weight and HP costs, but it's actually pretty freaking good in this game. Or maybe it's just Dorothea who's good. I don't really know. One-shotting enemies isn't really something I get the sense you're supposed to do in Gaiden, especially not freaking barons. But I gotta admit, feels pretty good when you pull it off. What's that? Dark spikes? Get out of here. Ragnarok is where it's at. Oh yeah, turns out the enemy ran out of units while we were having fun. I don't even know what happened to the boss. I think he just got caught up in the all meat grinder at some point. I'm sure he had a cool death quote or something. Shame we'll never see it. Let's move on. On to the final battle. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the epic finale you've all been waiting for. We're here, and we're going to challenge the Emperor. This map is going to be ridiculously hard. But first, cue epic battle speech in 3, 2, 1...
I see. So you've come at last. I leave this to fate now as a knight of Rigel. Men, you have fought well thus far. However, the Regellian Empire's time has ended. Hear me, all of you. This is my final request. If I should fall, don't interfere. Those remaining should surrender courageously. Do not feel disgraced. Is that clear? Don't die in vain.
Man, what's this? A morally grey villain that seems to have reasons for doing things? Gaiden did it first. So yeah, there is a reason why Rudolf is having this speech. There's a pretty cool plot twist coming up, and I bet none of you will see it coming. Go ahead, leave your guess in the comment section right now, and we'll see how many of you will get it right. I bet none of you. Anyway, at first glance, this map looks deceptively simple. There may not be a lot of enemies here, but Rudolf favors quality over quantity. Each of these foes are much stronger than anything else you've encountered up until this point. This map is also incredibly unique, as it is the only one out of 2 maps in the game that ends when you kill the boss. So just warp someone over there to take him out, right? I mean, there's even a conveniently placed unoccupied healing tile situated right next to him. It's like the game is trying to tell you something. Well, before you get any fancy ideas, allow me to show you Rudolf's stats. Yeah, you're not killing this guy. He's a level 20 gold knight with stats that allows him to turn most of your units into glue. Even my busted overpowered Alm cannot double him. To make matters worse, Rudolf comes equipped with an angel ring, passively healing him each turn and setting his luck to 40. And remember, in Gaiden, luck is your magic avoid, so don't think you can just nuke this guy with spells. Luckily, Rudolf has one big weakness. He will never attack Alm. Or he will, technically, but he will just stand there picking his nose rather than actually fighting. It's kinda like how Judah seals your attacks, but in reverse. Against Alm, Rudolf seals his own attacks, but he will still initiate combat on enemy phase, allowing Alm to retaliate. This means that Alm will get in 2 attacks on Rudolf every turn, one on player phase and another on enemy phase. But with Gaiden hit rates being as shaky as they are, this is barely enough to outdamage the passive healing he gets from his angel ring. Still, warping Alm in on the vacant healing tile is probably the best way to go about this. Alm may not do a lot of damage to Rudolf, but Rudolf isn't doing anything to Alm. And Rudolf's minions, strong as they are, still fall to Alm's silver bow. I use said bow to pick off both of the wizards immediately, taking away the enemy's healing. On the left-hand flank, the bulk of Rudolf's forces is charging towards me, so I tried to use Grey to distract some of them. It works for the bow knights, as they move back to shoot at him, but the gold knights are still headed my way. I put Lucas and Foresight on the bridge to choke the point, but honestly, I'd rather want to avoid them altogether. So I get the brilliant idea to warp Grey onto the southwestern healing tile. He might die, but he'll distract the Gold Knights long enough for me to hopefully deal with the Emperor. And even if he should die, I mean, hey, it's one of the final fights. Can't expect everyone to live. Over on Alm's side, things aren't looking great. While Rudolf's cronies fall one by one, the Emperor himself just refuses to bite the dusts. I tried to chip a little bit with Python, as he's the only one who can reach, but he just can't seem to land any hits. And even if he does, Rudolf's defense is just too damn high. I need to find someone else to help, and it probably has to be someone who targets resistance. Maybe someone capable of one-shotting barons? And so I get the brilliant idea to trade the Mage Ring over on Delphia. Surely with the extra range, maybe she can help bring Rudolf down. Ragnarok does hit like a truck, might be worth a shot. Sadly, I remember that Rudolf comes equipped with an Angel Ring, setting his luck to 40, meaning his magic avoid is godlike. Yeah, look at this, there is just no chance in hell I'm hitting this guy. And even if I somehow do, it probably won't be enough to... Oh. Well, that was disappointingly easy. Anyway, are you guys ready for the plot twists? Are you guys ready for it? Did you remember to leave your guess in the comment section? If you did, I want you to go and reply to your own comment to see if you got it right. Because here it comes.
Alm, you've grown up well. Was it no mistake in trusting you to serve Meissen after all? You figured it out by now, right? Your full name is Albine Alm Rudolf, my only son.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. Delphia's real name is Albine Alm Rudolf, and she is his only son. This means Delphia is the Emperor of Rigel. Yeah, bet you didn't see that coming. Rudolf also says something about a falchion and killing some god, blah blah blah. I don't play Gaiden for the story, I'm not a freaking nerd. I just want his angel ring. There we go. With that, we have officially won. Rudolf is gone. Wait, what do you mean my memes are dated? You kids still think this is funny, right? Right? I'm still relevant. Inside the castle, we are greeted warmly by the Regellian party committee, led by none other than, whoever this old guy is. I think I remember him from the start of the game, but I started the series back in 2017, so my memory is a little foggy. Anyway, Gramps here tells us that Rudolph's master plan was to give your units a bunch of experience by letting you grind up on his entire kingdom until you became high enough level to fight the final boss of the game. From a pure gameplay perspective, this plan makes perfect sense. Rudolf was a goddamn genius. And so we reach the end of Act 4, and with it, the end of another episode of Gaiden Abridged. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Join us next time as we take on the Gaiden endgame. And let me tell you guys, if you think you know what lies ahead just because you played Echoes, you know nothing. You're a goddamn Echoes baby, that's what you are. Trust me. It's not similar in any way. It's way worse, way more tedious, and way more annoying. Anyway, until then, if you give this video a like and a comment, I actually would really appreciate it. And subscribe so you won't miss out on the next one. My name has been Mengs, thank you so much for watching Gaiden Abridged, and I will see you guys with the next part in 2025. Goodbye!